Quote of the week: problems arise only if we respond to difficulties with a negative state of mind, by Geshe Kelsang Gyatso. Hello and welcome everybody, it's Jason Barlow, RMT. I'm here today as your therapist and your coach to help you transform your stress, your tension and pain into health, happiness, and vitality. So every week on Mondays, I'm providing you a great quote of the week. It's some of my favorites that I'm sharing with you. Why? Because ultimately we are what we believe we say we are. The very messages that we're sending throughout our brain, our mind, our body is going to create changes in our physiology. Your body believes every word that you say. So when it comes to the problem of stress and tension and pain, which is very much what I'm concentrating on as a massage therapist, it can become quite a problem. I think you'd agree. If you've had a headache, if you've had back pain, if you've had that chronic type of pain, suffered with any kind of injury, it is a problem. We label it as a problem. The challenge that we truly face, though, is we become identified with that very problem because we're binding our mind with the body. And they're two separate things. That's really the essence of this message. Problems arise only if we respond to difficulties with a negative state of mind. So ultimately, as I'm sharing with you through these great videos that I'm putting out, my podcast, my book that I'm sharing with you, the essence remains the same consistently, is that it's our state of mind fundamentally that is determining our experiences. Our body and mind are two very different entities. The mind is not the brain. The brain is a part of the physical body. Let's just use a simple example of headache. It's a common one. When you have this problem, I want you to learn to distinguish between an inner problem and an outer problem. Now, if you've been listening to me over the last few weeks, I've shared this with you before that we have two types of problem. And that's the name of the podcast. If you want to go back and look at it, is two types of problems. You have outer problems and you have inner problems. Outer problems, they never end. They're the stubbing the toe, the car breaks down, the house burns down, the job you lose, the money isn't coming in, the kids aren't listening. The list goes on, right? Create your own. I'm sure you've got your own outer problems going on, even right now as we're talking. They will never end. Even when you think, oh, finally free. Nope, there's another, usually a group of 5 waiting around the corner to attack you. They'll never end. They're the outer problems. We solve those with tools and hands. There are solutions. But what can be hard to see at that time when we're welled up, if you will, or dwelling and exaggerating upon the outer problem, is we can't see clearly a solution because we're wrapped up in the problem itself. We're identifying with that very problem. So using that example of headache, we commonly say, I have a headache. Excuse me. I have a headache. We're identifying I have a headache, suffering with a headache. What I want you to do is just start experimenting and see what difference this makes for you. And I've been doing this for over 15 years. So I'm coming from a point of view of experience having done this. That's not to say I never have headaches. I do. And I'll go and get a medication if I need to. But the first thing that I'll do is I'll concentrate and get my mind to a space where I'm not strongly identifying with that pain. I'll remind myself. Now, this takes practice. It takes time. I appreciate that. This is just a little teaser right now. I want you to just plant this seed and get it into your mind that you are not your problem. What's really going on as far as where the problem's coming from is how you respond. That headache usually culminates as, I'm pissed off, I'm irritated, I'm frustrated, and I'm in pain. The focus becomes centered around you, and as a result, you identify clearly with it, and you lock yourself, lock and key, into that prison of, I have a headache. Now, what you've done is you've taken an outer problem, and we're calling here the body being the outer problem. The body is experiencing a headache. You yourself are not. Going down the rabbit hole a little bit, but I just want you to roll with this for a moment. You are not your body. You are not your body. You have a connection with this body, but this body that you're currently attached to very strongly is not who you really are. Just think about that. Just think about that. That's all I want you to do this week. Just think about that. And ultimately what I want you to do is start to just label instead, I have a headache, Just say, my body has a problem, or my body is suffering with a headache. Just start to separate yourself from the pain that you're currently experiencing. Now, I'm using the example of a headache. It could be anything. It could be back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain, dental pain, whatever it is. It's still body pain. And I just want you to start to pull a layer away a little bit and say, okay, my body has a problem. I am okay. No, that's not normal, Jay. I'm not okay. I'm suffering. I'm in pain. Well, where's that pain actually coming from? Go down the rabbit hole a little bit deeper. Where is that pain actually coming from? It's coming from your state of mind. See, feeling is a state of mind, and you can choose to transform that. I'm not saying that all pain goes away, but you can reduce that mental pain that is associated with the physical pain, and then you can also appropriately take a healthier response. Rather than getting mentally frustrated, mentally just entangled in that whole predicament or situation or pain or injury, you're learning to separate the two. And now you can view that pain and injury and take the appropriate response. I'm not saying that you just suffer in silence. You still take action. There's nothing here about being patient and just taking it on and letting yourself suffer. What I'm saying is you don't have to mentally suffer whilst you're physically suffering. That's the purpose of the message. Because when you respond with a negative state of mind, now you've got a real problem. The real inner problem is your unpleasant feelings that arise in accordance with your perception of this outer pain or outer problem. The body is causing me real pain. Real pain is your unpleasant feeling, your unpleasant response to that physical pain. We still need to take action. That might be getting that medication. It might be going to see the doctor. It might be coming to see Jason for a massage treatment. That's still important and valuable. But what I'm saying here is you don't have to mentally suffer whilst you're physically suffering. It's an amazing platform to operate from because it will ultimately reduce reduce the intensity of that pain. You may even find that pain completely dissipates and goes away. Now, if that's the case, that to me is an indication that the origin of your pain wasn't even on a physical plane. It was actually coming from an emotion or a mindset that you already had. Experiment and try that for yourself. Now, you got to take this information away and really contemplate it and think it a little bit deeper. I put a link in the description below. It's meditateincalgary.com. Now, from there, at the bottom, if you scroll all the way to the bottom of the website, there's 2 books that you can download for free. One is called Modern Buddhism, and the other one's called Transform Your Life. I suggest start with Transform Your Life. This goes deeper into what I'm sharing with you today, and you can go further down that rabbit hole if you choose. If you're going to just stay on a superficial level, just take away what I'm sharing and apply it. Just become observant of what happens in your mind when you're physically suffering with pain and which path you end up going down. Is it a negative state of mind or is it more of a positive state of mind? Meditation, just want to finish on this. Meditation is the very tool that allows you to familiarize yourself with these very core, I'll call them quotes, as I'm sharing one here with you today, because if we don't take any time to familiarize ourselves with these new lines of thinking, and we just try to do it when we're actually physically suffering with pain, it's really, really hard. It's like trying to stop somebody who's full-on angry when they're experiencing that anger. It's very hard to control that anger that they're suffering from. Have a conversation with them at another time when they're not experiencing anger. You may get a different outcome. So it's same with physical pain. The best time to prepare yourself for the physical pain that's yet to come is to train your mind and to train yourself through meditation and familiarize yourself with how to transform your mind so that when those challenges and difficulties, and right now we're focusing particularly upon that mental or physical stress, tension, and pain, when that arises, you're more prepared to deal with that pain when it arises and separate yourself from that pain and have a different attitude towards it. So that then what you're doing is you're actually solving the real source of your problems, which is your mindset, your mind and your heart level right here. And you can distinguish between the physical body and your mind and learn how to more healthily approach dealing with your physical problem of stress, tension, and pain. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you found benefit from that. If it's pushed you down the rabbit hole, good. Spend a bit of time there and explore, because very often we don't. We very much stay on a superficial level, which if that's what you're choosing to do, fine. But if you're wanting some transformation in your life, with your mindset especially, but also your physical body, I implore you, explore, investigate, become your own detective with your body and mind, and really start to understand the origin, the true origin of all your stress, tension, and pain, which is right here in your mindset. Those are unpleasant feelings. Unpleasant feelings. We have a relationship with this body, but we are not our body. Thank you for joining me. Go to my website, jasonbarlow.rmt.com. From there, you can download a free digital copy of my book, The 15-Step Playbook for Pain Relief. It is filled with quotes, my favorites that I've plugged into that book at the beginning of every chapter. They're there for you to take away, consider, contemplate, and really embed them into your mindset, because I guarantee this to you. If you change the way you look at things, the way things look change. That was Dr. Wayne Dyer that said that, and I heard it years ago, and it's stayed with me ever since. Remember, your muscle health is my #1 priority. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow.